Welcome back to another video. Today's review is focused on Amazon original The Boarding School Los Cumbres Season 2. And the official synopsis of Season 2 is Los Cumbres boarding school is now harsher and hostile than ever before. Despite this, Amaya, Paul, and their friends haven't given up looking for Manuel, since they now know he's alive. They discover that the lodge of the crow's nest isn't the only threat lying in wait for them, that some wounds haven't healed after all this time, and that their worst nightmares may become a reality. And before I give up my review, please like the video, subscribe or comment, or just watch the video and keep going on with your day. Season 2 was not a bad season. It had a few surprising twists and turns, and I think it definitely does set things in motion for a possible third season if this show were to be renewed. So the stories this time around was a lot more crazier, in my honest opinion, because a lot more was just explored in this season. As season 2 takes place immediately where season 1 ended off, with Fidel being rescued after experiencing the same treatments that Manu was facing in the previous seasons. And that's one of the main focal stories for this season. It's just Manuel, like, where is he at? Like, who has him? And a lot of questions is definitely answered about his story, as there is some good news, but also at the same time, there's also just some frustrating news when you look at it. Another story that was the main focal this time around was the character of Ines, how she is still trying to figure out memories of her past life, trying to figure out what exactly happened at the day of the accident, just things like that. Her story in this season has, I would say, the most surprising reveals, as I'm not going to spoil what happens, but when some things get revealed, I was saying just what the F, and it's just too mind-boggling to explain in this video. And a few other subplots in this story was that the boarding school is now harsher. Teachers, you know what, are still acting shady as ever, still doing those illegal experiments on the kids. I felt like some characters had more of like a role this time around this season, as you find out how truly menacing that they are and how evil and defiant that they are when it came with everything. But the stories, though, for the most part, I felt like they were interesting. They weren't bad. Now, the performances from all of the actors and actresses, they were all good to me, as I felt like every one of them, they all gave out a good performance with their characters, as a lot of these characters go through the absolute most in this season, and some of them, after what has happened, is definitely going to need some type of just counseling or just therapy after everything that was just exposed and just revealed in this season. This season definitely does have a lot of just horror elements added into it somewhat, with a lot of disturbing imagery. And also, I would say maybe psychological too, in a few ways, with how some stories are revealed, how some sets looked and everything on screen, and how some characters reacted to some of the situations that they were forced into. And yeah. Now, I would say when it comes to maybe some of the things that I did not like about this season, I would say that maybe some of the things that I did not like about this season was that I felt like some of the newer characters, and they really weren't that interesting, and some of them I felt like did not have like a bigger role when it came to this show, like more screen time that I wanted to see. As we are introduced to a few new characters, and some of their stories are interesting and gives a lot of just background to the previous characters, but others were just not that interesting, and I found maybe one of them to be really annoying when you look at things. Another thing that I did not like about this story would probably have to be maybe some of the plot elements for this season, as most of the plot to me was not bad, but there was a few things about the plot when it came to certain reveals of certain characters that just left me just saying what the F, or how some stories just ended with just the wrong people winning, or just no type of happy ending. Like, it's crazy. And honestly, season 2 felt like more of a cliffhanger than season 1, quite honestly, because there was just so much that had happened in the final episode. And yeah. And if this show were to be renewed for season 3, I would not be upset because there are a few different stories that could be explored in the next season that needs to be answered and finally finished after everything that's happened. But I would say, despite that, the boarding school Los Cumbres season 2, it really wasn't a bad season, as you had a lot of the interesting characters returning, a lot of crazy, surprising things revealed in some of the stories, and just a lot of things that's just make you want to just see what happens next, I guess. I think I would give Los Cumbres season 2 3 stars out of 5. So thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.